everybody. It's a hell of a day, huh? What a wall buster.
Welcome to Arizona.
Yeah, exactly. Phoenix is rough. How's everybody been? It's a nutty first day, isn't it? I was expecting something sort of low-key, you know, like you sort of sit and chat. And there's just bug nuts out there. Crazy. Yeah, and I'm trying to do this deal right now. You guys know the Munsters?
Yes.
Okay. They're looking, yeah. They're thinking they want me to play Herman Munster.
Herman.
It's Frankenstein. It's on the head. All right. So we're in talks right now. That'll be fun. I'm sorry. Am I interrupting? Take it away. Yeah, exactly. Or Joel Gretsch, right? Mike Rowe as Herman Munster. I'm gonna eat. Anyone else want some lunch?
We got a couple minutes for letting people into the line outside.
Oh, okay. They're fired up.
Okay,
We'll start.
okay. So,
That was the most amazing question I've ever heard. Thank you so much. Woo! To all you late people, it was amazing.
so on the Television Without Pity Eureka thread, a video of you was recently posted at another con of breaking a wall. It didn't quite explain the context, so would you like to defend yourself? Because it was really funny.
It was a funny clip. Have you guys seen this?
Yeah.
You can YouTube it. Thanks, the internet. I was in Australia at this con, and I was supposed to be there with Niall and Zane, Fargo, and Eddie McClintock from Warehouse 13. We were all going to do this thing together. Niall had to cancel, Neil had to cancel, so it's just Eddie and I. And hello. And Eddie, he goes first, and he does 90 minutes. Yeah, I mean, the kid's here, so I won't say what I'm really thinking. Thanks, Eddie. So then I have to go, and I got to do 90 minutes. So I was like, okay, well, I'll just talk about what it's like to do stunts. Right, so I was doing this thing, and I was like, okay, well, this is sort of, you're not acting like you throw yourself into a wall, you actually have to throw yourself into the wall, and I do this thing, I go through the wall. Building code in Australia is not 16 inches off center, it's like 2 full feet, so I guess my back, which is incredibly wide, as we know from Herman Munster, actually goes through 2 studs, and it just, I didn't hear the end of it for the rest of the convention. I broke the space. And, so this thing, it's like a 6-minute video of, I sort of get out of the water, and then you hear somebody else come into the room and go, "Oh my God!" Broke through the wall. So that's what it was.
Thank you.
Thanks for bringing it up.
Good way to start things off here, embarrassing other podcasts.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm Charles McGuire from the State Press. 2-part question.
Yeah, here, I want to take a seat. You're gonna get tired. We're doing it. Sort of low-key style.
Wait, we're not even supposed to start for like 12 minutes. I'm enjoying the extra time.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, that was the most amazing question ever.
Most questions coming up so far. If you were to choose one invention from Eureka to save a current world problem, what would it be and why? And if you were to choose one invention from Eureka to destroy the world, what would it be and why?
Same invention. No, I guess to solve a world problem, what would I do? What can Greece use right now? Greece could use a teleportation machine. I guess I would, in a serious vein, you'd use the technology to create a whole bunch of money to actually dump it for the people to use, instead of sort of, the government's doing stuff that just doesn't make any sense. That seems like a pretty easy fix. And to destroy the world? Oh, yes. That's genius. Yeah, exactly. I just released Fargo into the world. Runs around like a monkey hitting buttons till the world explodes. Goose.
Keep us the director of Global Dynamics.
Yeah, exactly. Take it away.
Hi. So we have a friend, or my friends have a...
Who's our friend?
named Rick. He's not here, but he's your twin, and he used to be a small-town cop in Maine, and acts just like you on the TV show Eureka. And I want to know where you get
He's
your...
so sexy? He's that sexy?
From? Did you actually meet any small-town cops or anything like that?
I actually didn't. When we were doing the pilot, they hooked me up with the federal marshals, and I talked to them on the phone, and not the funniest guys I've ever spoken to, but because I was sort of at the time sort of trying to figure out, from the character what the metaphor was, and sort of the because they have a huge jurisdiction, so I got all heady into that, and then I show up on set and none of it means anything. Dealing with something completely different. But no, I didn't talk to any small town cops, because at the end of the pilot, it was that I was starting new Fish Out of Water. So I didn't need to do any research into knowing what I was doing, because my ignorance was my only tool.
Well, apparently you could do that in Maine.
Exactly. I'm moving to Maine with my twin Rick. Sexy, sexy Rick. Hit it.
How's it going? So, as my wife and I have been watching the show, the thing that we've found we just find to be the most amazing thing about your character is how physical you can get, and how just the physical humor of it all. And I'm just wondering, was there one particular scene or episode that was more difficult than another for, just the body contortions and falling over?
Sure. I mean, there's sort of like 4 or 5 that come to mind. One is Duck, Duck, Goose, where I walked out of the elevator, and there was like some sort of security device that if you don't have a pass or something, and I decided that I would bend my body at my knees and throw my back into the ground. That's a smart decision, right? And so I did it, and I was like, oh, that worked great. The concussion didn't hurt like hell when I've been over there. So that was one that sort of stuck out. I remember Jamie, I guess in the first season, he comes in and he's like, yeah, we're gonna make you, I forget what he was talking about, and I was like, that's gonna hurt. And he's like, yeah, but we've been watching dailies, and it really works when your character gets hurt. So you're gonna do the rest of the show. It's basically torture me, Cut to the season. Has this aired yet, where the giant cyclone was slamming me to the top of the Jeep? Yeah. Good. Case in point, 4 years later, and I'm still getting hurled around. And what they do on that is it's so low tech. They have a crane and a rope that's like sort of around like a harness around my waist, and it's this guy Alistair who's awesome, but he pulls me up and then drops me, and we just keep doing it again and again and again until we get one that we like, and it's always like, oh, that was really, really funny. That looked like it hurt. Did that hurt your head? I was like, yeah. It hurts. And some of the stuff that I was most proud of, body stuff, the subtle stuff, was in the body swapping episode. Thanks. Sci-fi they were really against that, because they don't like doing stuff that they can't potentially fix, and it was really all on us. Like, if we blew the impressions, it just wouldn't have worked. But in their minds, we were dead anyway. So, yeah. Ooh, it's so good. So I was proud of that, and the bank episode, Up in the Air, because for the lobby, all that was, here, let's see if I can break something else. All that was, the bank, that wasn't on a gimbal, that was just the camera on an angle, and I'm like going, whoa, I'm running out, and I'm doing this whole bit where I'm holding on like this, so we're going like, eh, like going back, and, yeah, with the water on the table. So I was really proud of that, because when I saw it, it worked. And I remember when we did it, if you look, we didn't do it again because I really hurt myself. But I missed the mat. Sometimes you miss the mat. They put the mat down, and you land, and you look to your left, and you're like, yeah, it's right there. And she's like, Alex comes in, our script supervisor, she goes, we forgot to push the chandelier to make it look like it was, could you do it again? I'm like, no, actually, I'm in a really bad mood now. So no. And then one of the, I know, longest answer ever, right? Like, and then there was one where they built the set wrong. Do you remember the one? I directed it. It was called, it was called Your Face or Mine. It was when Lupo gets the face, and there's a scene where I'm sort of on a fake floor, like jumping from plinth to plinth. Those were 16 feet above the ground, and they were supposed to build a door 16 feet up. We were shoot up there, and then a fake door 2 feet above the ground, so we could just shoot it on the ground. They forgot to build it on the ground, so so they have these 1 foot by 1 foot flat areas, like 16 feet up, and we have 2 mats for the stunt. We got 4 of them that I got to jump between, and I don't like heights. Like, I'm fine with almost everything else, but I really don't like heights. So I'm standing up on this thing and I'm jumping from, and we have only a set number of grips. So you got three guys, big guys, holding the plinth, right? I jump to it, and then they go, stay there. And they move to the next plinth, and then you hear one guy going, and he drags the mat, so like lava would hit concrete. It's just like, oh, it's the weirdest job ever. What's that?
I need a minute.
Oh, you need a minute. I'm sorry. Owen needs a minute, everybody.
Just if anybody has an empty
That's
seat
it.
left, at this point we're trying to get as many people in the room as possible. If anybody has an empty seat, please raise your hand.
I got 2 here. You can take them. We definitely, no seating. You can just take the seats. Take them. If you guys want seats, I'll bring you some seats.
This is this father, Colin Ferguson. He's apparently the nicest guy in show business. So before we get to our next question, I have one question of my own. I'm a big fan of the show.
Okay.
And we're all super sad that it's coming to a close.
Yeah.
We've got 4 episodes left.
Boo. Yes.
Is there any chance that sometime in the future we might see Warehouse Agent Jack Carter?
I would love that. I pitched this thing, because you know on Warehouse, I'm sorry buddy, I'll get like 2 seconds. Okay, alright, thanks man. They had that time jump where they went away on Warehouse. I wanted to live in, as a flashback for Joanne's character. So like she had a relationship in the off season, and then it was me. Right, basically, it would be like, oh, I dated this guy, but just hated him, what a pig, and all this stuff. And then you cut to the flashback, and it's me, and I'm like, oh, what's going on? I thought that would be really fun. They said no. But yeah, I'd love to do that. I would love to do that, and I've told Jack that, so he knows.
Plus, you guys are technically in the same universe as Alphas now, too, because they've had crossovers with Warehouse.
Have they?
Yeah.
Because they all shoot in Toronto, right?
Yeah.
Poor buggers. Sucks shooting in Toronto. I think. But I'm opinionated. How many hockey fans do you have here?
That's pretty good for Arizona.
Kings fan. Worst panel ever. Anyway, I'm sorry, take it.
Yeah, go ahead.
Take it, Carlos.
What was your favorite part of Eureka?
My favorite part is probably the family that we created. You know, all of us being together for so long. I wasn't there, but like when Sally had her second kid, when Erica had her first child, when Alex and Sally got to direct for the first time. You know, you spend dawn till dusk working with a group of people. You see the best of each other, you see the worst of each other, and to see everybody move forward in their lives, it's real. You know, you don't get to unaccomplish something once you've accomplished it. So that was definitely the best thing, watching people become what they wanted to become. No. Thanks, man. Thanks. I always think you were sensitive.
Hi, I was wondering if you are familiar with the sheriff that we have here in Maricopa County, Arizona.
It's not Sexy Rick, is it?
No, but we would take him. Joe Arpaio is our sheriff. He's
All right.
a very controversial sheriff. He's the self-proclaimed toughest sheriff in America, and he has lots of controversial policies and says things. Anyway,
So he's not a nice man.
well,
Not so much a charity
I won't
worker.
speak for the opinions of the audience right now.
Okay.
But I was wondering if
I'll replace him.
I actually put together a graphic, the campaign poster for
Oh, cool.
Sheriff Jack Carter. Would you like to see it?
I'd love to see it. Yeah, bring it up. It's on an iPhone. Oh, it's a droid. She's getting booed for her phone. That's awesome. I love this. That's awesome. Yeah.
Weather's beautiful.
Yeah, the weather is beautiful here.
I'm just saying, you know.
Although 7:30 in the morning, I went for a walk downtown, it was like noon on my face. That's a heat.
Wait till August.
Yeah, that's up there. And they had like the sprinklers, like those little misters outside of the hotels going at 7 in the morning. I'm not sure that's good for water consumption. Take it away, Val.
What was your favorite episode of Eureka?
I would think probably the... Do you have a favorite? Yeah? Do you have a favorite? All of them? Done. He's really smart. You can see it. I would say my probably the body swapping one because I was really proud of it. That was scary. Yeah, because it was you know you knew that if you fell on your face it was gonna be bad. You know, it was really not going to work. So it was nice to be really scared. I think being scared is a really important thing when you're trying to do something.
As an actor who plays a cop and a father, what advice would you give for those of us with children and teenagers?
Oh, who am I to give advice? I mean, I just don't have a child, so that I know of. So, yeah. What happens in the con stays in the con. I mean, you know, not to be, you know, I would say just be patient as you can, you know. I mean, I was talking to my buddy Phil the other day, and he's like, it's amazing. My kids come home, they're teenagers, and they come home from school, and they're like, and like they're just freaking out. And he's like, you sort of forget how much pressure they're under. Like, learn this, learn this, learn this, be graded, be judged, be graded, be measured, be weighed, and just, you know, step back and get a little bit of perspective, I would say, on how hard that is as a teenager to be going through all that while your hormones are going crazy and you have no sense of who you are. So I'd say, you know, listen to them. Don't tell them things so much. Listen. Yeah.
So Michael Dorn was in here before you.
Yeah.
And he, you know, there's a whole reputation of
So many jokes.
big dumb wharf. Oh, big dumb wharf.
Yeah, I was gonna, like, my seat sunk. I was gonna, you know.
So on the show Eureka, a lot of the other characters kind of treat you like you're dumb. And so how does it feel being Big Dumb Jack?
Pretty good. I remember the first time we did a convention, or we did like a public appearance thing, and it was a big audience, and I got a question like that. Well, the person said, you know, oh, what's it like, you know, to be so dumb? And I was like, you know, not okay with your phrasing, but I go look past it. It's a funny thing because I never saw him as that. I saw him as a lot of times, you know, he puts on a bit of a front. You know, just you get the job done, and sometimes the best way to get the job done is to sort of be a bit of a wild card. You know, and being a wild card sometimes is pretending that you don't understand. Oh, pick it up. So I'd say that, but I like it. I mean, it frees you up. What's that German phrase? Is it Narrenfreiheit, where the fool is exempt from being wise? I think that, yeah, that's right. I said that. Yeah. And I believe in that, where like you can play that card pretending to be, you know, or realizing in your lack of intelligence there's a freedom. And I think he capitalizes on it.
Thank you.
German, that's right. We all learned something today.
Oh, what was your weirdest episode in Eureka?
The weirdest one? We did this one, the hardest one, the freakiest one. We did this one, it was with Francis Fisher. I don't know the seasons. It was the season finale of whatever that was, when the inside the bunker got filled with cement. We had no script. It was the first day of production, and we had no script. The network threw it out, which they do, because they're good that way. No, I should say that with a smile on my face. They're good that way. And so what you can do in a situation like that is you can front load the B and C plot, which means that you can shoot the deeper character stuff, because there's an A plot, a B plot, and a C plot to a story. So you knew the B and C weren't going to change, so you can front load that. Day 2 happens, we still don't have a script. Day 3 happens, we still don't have a script. And yeah, so we're now out of B and C plot to shoot. We have nothing left that we can shoot except for A plot, we don't know what it is. So they would pre-approve scenes for which there was going to be a story around that we were going to get to later. So it was a weird exercise in, you know, leaving the scene, and I sort of have to have an expression on my face that can double for anger or urgency. And choosing something that you can sort of thread the needle depending on what the other scene was going to be. So that was definitely the weirdest one. That we'd know, and we'd know when the lanterns, we had nothing, we'd get the scene in the morning, and all the bombs that were set in the hallway, the prop guys come out and he's like, right, we got some Christmas lights and some lanterns from Home Depot. Are those, is that gonna be, he's like, we could spray paint them copper color? And that's what they were. And it was, so we were spraying like Christmas lights and, you know, sort of, and they fixed it in post. They put some fancy lights on them in post, but that's all we were using. I know it's upsetting, isn't it? Anyway, that was probably the weirdest for us.
Thank you.
All right, thanks.
It's going to take me a second to get up. Is there any actor you would like to work with?
Oh, absolutely. I'd love to work with a ton of them. I mean, I'd love to have worked with Paul Newman. I grew up sort of idolizing him, what he did with his life and what he did with his work. That'd be great. The older guys, I think, the old guard, back when they didn't have monitors, you know, the pre-mid-90s, where it was on faith. You know, you did it, the camera guy captured it, he turned to the director and said, I got it, it's in focus, and the director said, good, we're good, move on. I like that. There's something really freeing about that, as opposed to now, where you can second guess everything. Oh, bud, come on over. You good, buddy? Yeah, there you are. Oh, that's sad. Not the right time to introduce us? Yeah.
What's your favorite part of being an actor?
Well, this doesn't suck. Yeah, right? Like, this is such an important part of the process. You make all this stuff in a vacuum, you know, and no one really sees it but the crew, and no one's seen it cut together, and the crew, you know, sort of defending, they have to sort of like what they do because they're looking to get hired again and all that stuff. So you have a converted audience, but you're never really sure if it's going to hold together. So it's only when it's aired, you know, through post-production that you get together with a group of people like yourselves and you get the feedback on like, I like this episode, you know, I liked this aspect of it. So this sort of completes the circuit. Because like when you're doing it on stage, you get it immediately. And that's fun too, because you sort of navigate as you're doing the theater piece, but this is the only way to sort of complete that circuit, is to meet the people who watch it and go like, yeah, that bit worked, or like, yeah, no, that didn't. Or you guys really messed up, or you know, stuff like that. So this is probably it, because it's the completion of a long process. Yeah, thanks. Don't touch it. Don't touch it.
What is your favorite invention?
My favorite invention? Probably a couple. I like the teleportation thing, obviously. In Blink, the episode where the kid could run really fast, I like that because I'm really, really fast. So I feel, that really represents me. And I like, there was a bunch of them. The hoverboard, I think, would be fun. And an episode that hasn't aired yet. It airs in, I guess, 10 days. It's called Smarter Carter. And Carter gets smarter. So I had all the tech dialogue, and I had like the big long things, and all the actors were so happy. They were like, "Yeah, you do it. Go ahead, big guy." Yeah. So that was wild pay. Like everyone was really happy when I had a big speech to do. But I did it. So those are mine, probably. Thanks. Hit it.
I'm so nervous.
Oh, sorry. Here, tilt the mic up. That'll. Less nervous? More nervous.
Yeah. It's a complete honor to meet you because my mom and dad love this show. They always watch it. I always walk in the room and have to call them for dinner.
You're cooking dinner?
But my question is,
you come in here right on dinner on the day.
But my question is, what is it like working with the others on the set?
It's great.
Yeah.
That's great. Continue. I'm sorry. I have a job.
In an aspect of relationships, I know you all in the show, you're all one big happy family.
Yeah. Well, like any family, though, is fraught with dysfunction, right?
That's so true.
Yeah, but that's part of it. It's accepting people for who they are.
Have you been watching my family?
Yes. The TV goes both ways. You know that. Yeah, I've seen your parents watching the show. They're not watching the show. Like any family, it's like Erica's a dingbat. I love her to death. She plays Lupo. She's the weirdest, funniest, quirkiest girl you're ever gonna meet, and ridiculously beautiful. She can do things on screen. She just needs to walk in sometimes. She doesn't wear any makeup. Wow. She walks into work and goes "We're good." And because she's late to work because she stopped to get Tupperware. Erica, right there. It's "Oh my God, I'm so sorry, there's a sale. I couldn't get my car didn't start. I couldn't do that." Erica. Love her to death. And we all have our quirks. It really is because you do see the best and the worst of each other. You see everybody just blow a fuse and get completely wrapped around the axle at some point in time and do things that that they'd be ashamed of if you weren't completely accepted for doing it. You're working with people 16 hours a day, sometimes 27 days straight. Everybody loses their noodle at a certain point. And somebody might be screaming or doing something, and you're just sort of smiling, going, "Oh yeah, you'll regret this in a bit." Oh yeah, keep going. And you do. And you're like, "Yeah, sorry, I lost my temper before." You're like, "Oh, that's good." And we all do it. So that's the best part of it, is in accepting the faults of your family, you accept your own. And you become a little easier on yourself for having them. So.
Now that the series has come to an end,
It hasn't.
What? This is how I find
what prop do you hope to keep? The outfit or...
What I steal? I stole my sheriff uniform. I have a badge and I have the whole gig, except for the belt. We never owned the belts. We rented them. We did. Welcome to TV. Yeah, we rented the belts every year, because apparently they were expensive. We didn't want to own them. And I took the nameplate on my desk in the office that said Sheriff Jack Carter, which I thought was great.
I was thinking one of the big power guns.
Well, those are so expensive. Like to make a one-off of a prop, those are like $4,000. Yeah, they're really expensive. Some of those tiny little props that light up are so expensive, and they get so mad when we break them. Like, they're vocally upset. Thanks.
Hi. How awkward was the scene between you switching from Allison to Joe in your intimate little part that you did? Yes.
Which scene? Where I switched from Allison to Joe?
Yeah.
In the shower?
Oh!
Yeah.
Well, that was Zane in the shower, right?
Yes.
So you mean when I was...
When you flip-flopped, I mean, because they were really good at portraying that they were very awkward about the whole thing through the whole situation. How was it kind of switching, because you had to switch up your relationship with one in one area, and then you had to switch up. Was it kind of weird, kind of doing that,
weird.
or was it kind of?
Well, it was weird because you just wanted to make it a pronounced change. It was more weird from an acting standpoint. I mean, because you wanted to make it a pronounced change, but you didn't want to go so far that it became farcical or a
Or
caricature.
people thought it was established that way, so you wanted to kind of flip it back and forth.
Right, you couldn't go so far that that the other person in the scene, their character would go.
Did you feel awkward?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh, absolutely. I mean, the takes you guys didn't see, not impressive. You frequently hear like, yeah, all the gold was on the cutting room floor. We did some amazing stuff. It didn't make the cut. No, not the case. That's on the cutting room floor should not be seen. You try certain things, right? And you get to the end of it, and then you cut, and you're like, oh, that didn't work. And they're like, that was terrible. But that's the other thing when working with a family is we set up an environment where we can tell each other we were terrible. That because it's only when you got to be in a place where somebody can say, yeah, you can do better. It's just a faith in who you are. Because if they can say, you can do better, that wasn't good, you can do better than that, you're more telling them that you have faith that they're good, as opposed to you've done something wrong.
Did you like the switch that they had you do?
I loved it.
Did you think that was really a good twist?
That was really, really fun.
Like that?
Yeah.
You got to be with two women. I mean, it can't be bad, right?
It's not a bad thing.
No.
No, I think I made it with everybody. Great. I mean, it was the weirdest was kissing Erica, I gotta say. Because Erica's like my sister. I mean, yeah. I could say something, no. Bad head. But no, she is, so that was always a little strange, just because we couldn't stop laughing. Yeah, it was fun. Because we'd been leaning into it for a while. We'd been sort of pushing that aspect of the relationship, sort of like, oh, this would be fun. And then when they wrote it, we were like, no. That's supposed to go.
How many takes was that?
Yeah, 12. You got it, 12. Yeah. My bad, looked into camera.
Thank you.
Thank you.
As a follow-up to that episode, it's real obvious that you guys. It's real obvious that you guys have a broad depth of experience with each other's mannerisms and methods of speaking and that kind of stuff. I mean, you've been around each other for a considerable amount of time.
Yeah.
Of all the impersonations that you did, which was the most difficult?
Niall. Zane. Because, I mean, Sally's female, so that's different. But Zane, before Niall started working out, we're the same size. We have similar mannerisms, so I just sort of teed off on all sorts of stuff. Because a lot of that, Jamie was directing it. Jamie's our creator, so we could riff. And I go, like, oh, could I do this with my own body and have him be repulsed by this? And and Jamie's like, if you want to do it. And there's a lot of stuff he let me riff, mostly when I was with Niall, because I was just making fun of myself, and that's pretty easy to do. That Niall was the hardest because we have similar tones sometimes, so I needed to make it different. He was there, so I'd ask him how he would do things. Yeah.
Question: a lot of times in sci-fi, actors kind of get pigeonholed and stuck in sci-fi. They're seen throughout different sci-fi things.
Yeah.
Is that something that you want to have happen? Would you like to stay in the sci-fi, or would you like to try to do a lot of other areas?
I don't really think about it one way or the other. I mean, it's been such a unpredictable route thus far, and a very fun ride that I'm happy to sort of leave the chips on the table and see where they go. I'd love to do another sci-fi show. I'd be happy to do a different show. I want to make sure that I'm really pleased with the quality that we did, particularly in this last season of the show, where I was a producer. Coincidence? I think not. But I'd like to make sure that, you know, I don't want to do something for the sake of it. You know, I'd like to do something where I get to, you know, feel like I'm either exploring new ground or you know, be assured of a certain quality, as much as you can be. You know. Thanks. I think it's time for another Star Trek series, though, to be honest. I think it's, I mean, we're making everything else, right? And it's been a good many years, and I would just commit to a bunch of years in a row. That'd be stellar. I'd do that.
Would you want to be captain?
I would be a monster. I don't know. I don't know. Could I be a captain? Yeah. Captain Jack. That's something.
Yeah, my question is, actually, oddly enough, Star Trek has inspired a lot of technology and science throughout the years. And I think, do you think Eureka will be doing the exact same thing?
Well, what was funny about that is we started the show with those little PDAs, those tiny little things, and every time we had a guest actor, we had to explain to them what it was. And they're like, I'm sorry, what? And I'm like, yeah, it doesn't have a keyboard, but you can do anything you want to on it, and you can move the screen, and that was sort of, you know, and they're like, okay, you know, and invariably they would start typing on it and doing all this stuff. Got to the end of the show, and we can't afford to get new ones, right? But we're so outclassed by where technology's going. You know, like everyone has these super nice iPhones, we still these ones that we made 6 years ago. So it's really funny to watch that sort of change over the course of the show. Just that one piece of technology that we started out ahead of the curve, where everyone had normal clamshell cell phones, and now everyone's completely surpassed where we were at the end of it.
Thank you very much.
Hi.
Hi.
Well, first of all, I just love you and Eureka. You're so funny.
Oh, thank you.
Okay, and so my question is, what's your favorite part about the set of Eureka?
My favorite part about the set, probably that it was home. It was, you know, we always knew where everything was. You know, it was our little world. We were a little fiefdom there on the lot. We were there for like 6 years. And never stopped getting yelled at by the security guards, ever. Like even in the last year, they sent me a formal letter reprimanding me. Like, is that necessary? You know, what I do? Well, I would bicycle to work in the winter in the rain, and so sometimes you'd get to set, and I'd forget to close the door that I had, so I left the door open to the lot, which is fair enough, you know, they should have reprimanded, but I could have taken you know, maybe just pull me aside and say, hey buddy, you forgot to close the, you know, and they're like, and they sent me video footage. Yeah, to my email account. I'm like the cruel, heartless person that I was, just leaving the door open. You know, and actually I went to close it, but it actually bounced off the thing and didn't clip. So, to get back to your question, yeah, it was home. And to watch Rick McGuire, our DP, he worked under the line producer on the show, the guy who produces everything, had his own gaffer, the guy who does all the lights and the grips and all that stuff. And when Fringe came along, they stole a bunch of our crew. Stole. Bastards. They did, well, they were, you know, no, it was very easy, and they had much better craft service, so we would go over and visit. They were on the stage next door, so it was like, hey, it's you! It was great. And they shot in a building when, you know, he'd go, and he'd grab a bunch and just put them in his arms, and they're like, you want an orange? What the boss? He goes, give me an orange. You know, and he'd walk around, and you just put these stupid things behind test tubes, you know, up in little corners, and so whenever you see blinky flashing lights, they're dollars for lights. He went around and he's like, it looks better with the blinky lights. Yeah, it does. So I love little things like that. That give you so much bang for your buck that you don't clock until you start watching them.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Hi.
Hi.
This question's about something not read Eureka. A couple weeks ago.
Right, the economic downturn.
Yes, yeah, actually. How do you feel about that? Do
you know what? We need to turn into a country of savers.
Okay.
I'm tired of this.
Cut from the middle.
Exactly.
No, it was actually.
I think it goes back to Freud.
Freud. Okay. I mean, the economy wants to have sex with the mother. Yeah.
Bernays,
Exactly.
Bernays, and it's true. Bernays.
Bernays.
Yeah, absolutely. He was Freud's nephew. We can have a little lesson about this. He did. He changed public. Please continue. It's only interesting to me. I understand.
On a more serious subject.
Yes.
A few weeks ago, we got to see you on. At least we got to experience that a few weeks ago on Tabletop.
Yes.
That was.
That's right. Don't count me out. That's a mistake.
That was really cool. I mean, how much fun did you have with it? And is there anything you want to share from it?
Sure. Yeah, I had a great time doing that, and it was all very, very genuine. When I got my cards, and for those of you who haven't seen it, it's a board game where you have to connect routes. You know. Ticket to Ride. Yeah. Ticket to Ride. Woo! You got to do these train routes, and so if you can connect your 2 routes, you get more points. My route was Winnipeg to New Orleans, and I think it was Portland to, I don't know, you're on the edge of your seat, like Atlanta or something.
Was it like New Orleans or something?
Yes. So it was impossible to do, and ultimately I was such a desperate lost cause they ignored me, and I ended up winning the game.
For those of you who aren't entirely familiar, Tabletop is Will Wheaton's new show on Felicia Day's Geek and Sundry YouTube channel.
Yeah.
He gets celebrity guests to play strategic board games with him.
Yeah, and it's pretty fun.
Colin's the most recent episode, and it's fantastic.
Yeah, and Neil Grayston won as well. Neil Grayston was on, and he won, and I won, and I'm not saying Eureka's wicked smart, but I'm leaning that way.
Well, cool. Well, thank you.
Awesome. Thanks very much. Hello.
Hey there, Colin.
Why do you guys been down?
So we can see.
Oh, okay. I was like, why are you making the men down? That's just me. You want to ask a question? Earn it. Please.
Are you sure?
Yes.
All right. So over the years, you've got to work with a lot of guest stars. Some of my favorites, like Stan Lee's little, and Will Wheaton was guest star, turned into part of the.
Oh, the bearded guy. Yeah, nice.
Okay.
Odd though. Yeah.
So, who's your favorite that you worked with over years, or who all?
Probably I've got a couple of them. My buddy Dave Foley came on and did it, and that was awesome. I mean, and probably Wallace Shawn, because like, I was a 10-year-old at one point in time. I know, long time ago. And no, but growing up watching that stuff before I thought it was even possible to be an actor or to understand what that was, and wanting to have a show, but not thinking it was ever possible. I watched those guys and like, oh, that's hilarious, and they're so talented, and wow, and grow up with idolizing the stuff that they did, and so to be with them on a set where they're like, when I met Dave, he said, "Oh, Rick, I'm a big fan of the show," and I think my brain exploded. I was barely okay with him knowing who I was, let alone having him see anything I'd done. So it's really humbling to have that moment where you don't know if your brain can accept the information that it's getting, and really grateful to have had it. So those 2 guys, I'd say Wally Shawn and Dave.
And sorry.
Hit it, yeah. You did Neil again, so you're allowed to ask one more question.
Well, I can do that all day if you want. Guest stars turning into part of the. You guys had the same cast for a really long time, and then Will Wheaton and Felicia Day joined the cast. So how was that? Them kind of slipping into the family.
That was Jamie. Jamie met.
Will here.
It was Will. He should be here. He's here.
Jamie's here. They're both here. They've checked in.
And how was it like getting them into the cast? How did it happen?
Like the whole family feel? You've talked about the cast being a
Yeah.
family, and then right towards the end, you kind of slipped a couple.
Yeah, slipped a couple new ones in there. I was like, oh, but it was great. I credit Jamie exclusively because we had a couple misfires over the years where we hired people actually for longer arcs and then let them go sooner, much sooner sometimes because the character didn't work in the way that we wanted it to. But Will and Felicia were so great. They sort of fit right in right away. Their tone was our tone. Like they just got what we were doing, and they said, "Oh yeah, my character could do this and not a lot of that there," and they were right on the money. And they're so friendly. And they taught us a lot about Twitter. We weren't like a cast and that was doing it. And Will has 2 million. They each have 2 million followers and so these people come on and you're like, what's the I'm gonna do that. I'm about to get on that the Twitter thing and learning from them was pretty huge and how driven Felicia is. I mean, what an amazing drive she has. I was really impressed with watching someone do something from the ground up, and it inspired me. And I'm writing a sitcom right now too. Yeah. Actually, I've written whether they'll do it or not. I wrote it. Did you guys the tabletop episode? You see Amy Dallin, the girl there. I wrote it for her, Will, and a couple other people that I worked with recently. So, yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, over the series, you guys have done horrible things to that poor Jeep, blown it up, melted it, or whatever. Up until the Christmas special, had you really ever thought of it as a character, or was it just a prop to blow up or destroy?
It was, I believe the intention was, it was an aspect of me that they could hurt that didn't, because it was annoying to me and that made everyone happy. That was good enough.
And then the other part is, they got Jim Parson to do the voice. How fun was that for you?
We never met him.
You never met him?
We never met him. He did the voice work out of New York. So Matt went over and did all the voice work, and then we just heard it. We didn't get to meet him, which he was crushed, apparently.
That's a shame.
Yeah, I'm not sure if he's recovered. Yeah.
All right.
My favorite Jeep story, though, just is that most of the Jeeps are red on the inside because we went through so many of them in the Vancouver area that all that was left were the firehouse Jeeps. So we started buying all the firehouse Jeeps. And by the way, none of that was like to code. Like none of it was roadworthy. We had the Hero Jeep from the inside, and then we had the Hero Jeep from the outside that I would drive actually on the streets, and the seat wasn't attached. So, like they care, right? So my seat was propped up by a sandbag on one side. The thing wasn't in. And it wasn't safe. It just wasn't safe. And I don't think I destroyed any of those personally, like in mistakes, but I did enjoy skidding it. It was fun. Yeah. Anyway, thanks.
What's the most expensive thing you've destroyed on the set?
Probably the biggest thing, I wasn't on this show, I drove a car into a wall on that's what they said. I was doing this stunt again and again, and the day was heating up, and I was driving it was like a 1970 Impala, right, so it was big, and I was getting cocky, and I was doing a lot of stunt driving in this particular piece, and it wasn't a big thing. It was only I think I cost them $600 or something because they had to rebuild the wall. But I didn't know this, that on the older cars, when it gets sort of around 100, the tires lose a ton of traction. Now I know. And you know what? Can you put a price on knowledge? No, you can't. So I think that $600 was worth it.
We know that a lot out here because we.
Yeah, of course you. Yeah. But I mean, I was, and I was stunned sort of when I hit the wall because I was like, I know I was going the same speed. I even pulled back a little bit, and I didn't. And the actress next to me, she was upset. Reed angry with me, but I think she overreacted. Anyway, God, you're up.
How did you feel about Holly getting right in your hands?
Oh, the joy. It was hard to hide how happy murder made me. It was cool. I really liked that scene because I wanted to play it like the character or the NPC it would have been so much more convenient to have her alive. You know, that was sort of the extent of the emotion. So I want to sort of be like, oh, you know, I wish you hadn't said that. And that sort of and then just kill her and move on because I didn't really care. Which I like doing. I thought that was entertaining and dark and weird. And I thought she fell to the ground really well too. She had to do a bunch of takes of that. And really, I think she hurt herself on one of them. Yeah, which wasn't funny, but you gotta do it again. It was great. Anyway.
What's your favorite prop on the set?
My favorite prop? What did I do? My favorite set is the sheriff's office, because that harkens back to the 1940s tone. I remember when Andy, the co-creator of the show, was creating the look for my character. He had a meeting with the girl who designed Indiana Jones. And he didn't know, he was at like a bar thing, and he's like, yeah, I just love how Indiana Jones and the hat and the whole thing. And she was saying, oh, well, I'm actually the costume designer, and I designed that. And she said what Steven Spielberg was going for was he wanted something really iconographic that even in silhouette, you knew it was Indy. You knew it was the one look that the character had all the time. And so he took that and he said he wanted to have a look that always stayed the same. So that was how the character came to look that way. Not your question. My favorite prop is probably some of the tech stuff. What we do on the show, probably the funniest stuff that we do is when we don't have a prop. And it's like all we have is a pen. And Joe Morton's the best, because he'll do stuff like, he'll go like, yeah, no, I'm finding that it's a pen. He's got a pen in his hand. We didn't have a prop. And if you can cover enough with your hand, you can get away with so much. Like, wow, look what it can do. There's nothing on it. It's just, and got it. And we're good to go. So I think the smoke and mirrors of it is what cracks me up the most. But we had a lot of stuff that was there from the very, very beginning. Our least favorite set deck item, all of us would unanimously agree, were those giant mission control monitors, those triangular gray beasts that we'd always have to line up like Roman candles behind to shoot a scene. And there's nowhere to move, right? So we absolutely hated using those because we knew that the day was going to be long. Because you got to shoot this way, then you got to go behind us to get a shot of the monitor, and it takes a long time. Again, not your question. Thanks very much. Hit it.
Hey, how are you?
I'm well, how are you?
One of my favorite relationships is between Andy and Sarah.
Yeah.
And the scene where the house was, you weren't sure if the house was going to die, and Andy was on the moon. How hard was it for you to act with the house? And it's so emotional.
Yeah, it is really hard, because it's not like Neil Grayston obviously does the voice of Sarah, for which he gets paid as an extra character. Yeah, there's a nice gig. The art, we work this thing so good. The art on the walls in the Smart House is from Joe Morton, and every time you see it, he gets paid. Yeah, wish I jumped on the Photoshop. But shooting in Sarah is hard because a lot of times there's nothing to cut to, right? Because you're not going to cut to a wall. So it has to live as one, and there's no one there to do her voice. So who I like doing her voice is Alexandra, our script supervisor, who also directed 2 of the episodes. Smarter Carter is an episode from Alexandra, also great. And because she's loud, but usually it's my stand-in. Because if I'm on stage, he's the only one who you can guarantee isn't doing anything. Right. And Patrick is from Quebec, where I'm from. Patrick speaks like this: Jack, we must go back to get the thing that we left. He speaks with his French accent. So when you're trying to be emotional, and he's talking about, he's Andy. It's hard to find sometimes, and I actually ask him to step out sometimes. Like, could we get anyone else? And he laughs. I mean, we have a good joke about it. But yeah, it's hard. It's definitely difficult. Thanks.
So you've got some great dialogue on the show, and I'm wondering, what is your favorite line that you've done in the show, either scripted, unscripted, or both?
Okay. I liked probably the ones that are the most recent, because as the series wore on, we got more liberty, and they were more accepting of lines that we would add. So I think in the body swap episode, I think the cheeks of a basset hound, that's mine. A lot of the ew, I think the scarecrow and the, no, manscaping I believe was Andy, Jamie. Big Robot Dick, that was definitely one of mine. All that stuff used to be on the cutting room floor, so it was nice to have it in there now. And the Andy Griffith scarecrow, half Andy Griffith, half scarecrow. So those. I think my favorite line that anyone ad-libbed was probably Matt Hastings told Dave Foley to say as he walked away, "I have a girlfriend, and her name is Science." It's so good. It cracked me up. Matt is so good with lines. If you need a button on the end of a scene, Matt's amazing for it. So those are probably them. Thanks.
So throughout the series, you've always had, a very military, rugged look.
Yeah.
I was just wondering if you ever thought of... No.
I toned it down.
I know. I was wondering if you ever actually had a beard, or you ever thought about maybe growing out your hair or any other looks, or did they let you?
I look like a poodle. Because I do. I got the curse from my mom, where it's like sort of straightish on the sides, and then just like chunk. this curly, just nastiness that just goes. So it's not good. And then I did have a beard, I guess about a month ago. I stopped shaving. That sounds sad, doesn't it? They're itchy beards. I guess you get to a point where it's they're really gross looking. So I did have a beard, but nothing that I ever kept for a long period of time. My hair on my face grows like in really tight circles. So like what would I say? As tight as super.
Whoa.
Yeah. They go right back into my face. I'll say. So it's not so, and it's like wire. It's not
Thank you.
Thank you. And this isn't anything I'm doing. This is just how my face is after 2 days.
What's your favorite comic book hero or just person?
Oh, probably. Well, as a kid, it was Spider-Man because he aired at noon, and so I'd run home from school and I'd eat my Kraft macaroni and cheese and hot dogs watching Spider-Man because we ate really well. And then I run back to school. As an adult, what would I say? I mean, I sort of have this thing right now for Captain America. Just because he was so maligned for so many years, and they came out with a super cool movie for him, so I like that. I also really loved The Flash as a kid. Which is like, he can run wicked fast. Which is about as simple as that was, right? But those are mine. What's yours?
I don't know.
Turn the table!
I like the X-Men.
Those guys. Well, those movies are so great. I mean, I love the reinvention of that. That was fantastic. Did you guys like the last one?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was super cool. Yeah.
Oh, my favorite is Iron Man.
Iron Man. Really?
Yeah, Iron Man and Captain America. Actually.
Really? The movies or the superheroes in and of themselves?
Both.
Okay. Cool. Awesome. Thank you very much.
How you doing?
Pretty good.
Let me scratch my grossness real quick.
If I had a nickel, I would scratch my grossness.
Do you think that the reason why your character is such a necessity in this town is because he brings the one thing that nobody else brings to it, which is common sense?
Yeah. Well, I think what he brings. I think in a town where everybody's really used to bringing their mind, he's willing to sacrifice his body. You know what I mean? I think it's a bit. I think the self-sacrifice of that is something that everybody can associate with, because I think we all sacrifice a lot. I mean, if you have kids, if you know you're in a relationship, I'm working on both. I'll figure it out. But like, you know, you sacrifice a lot, and you get so much for it, and I think that sort of thing is I think what I keyed into in the character is somebody who is willing to be there for other people. So I think that level of selflessness that they write for him is great. And he's so sexy.
How did you like filming in Chilliwack?
Chilliwack.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, well, yes. Yeah, the jewel of Harrison Hot Springs. Yeah. No, it was great, and it was really neat to see that town shift. It had a huge sort of air pollution problem when we started, and there was a massive meth, like there's a ton of crystal meth in that town, which makes for some really interesting street traffic. As you're waiting, because some people like to yell, when a film shoot's going on, so they'll be like, yeah, woo, and they'll just be walking away, and you get to stop, until they're done yelling. And it was neat to watch sort of like all the strip clubs slowly close, and then it turn around as a town and sort of become, a little more upstanding in the center of town. But we lost an aspect of Chilliwack, because Chilliwack used to just be a mess when we went, because you have a whole crew of people who are really tight going out of town for the night. And they had this one bar with a mechanical bull. So the second we wrapped, like it was competition time. And there were some days, everyone would drink pretty heavily when we went there, and the camera guys, like Tenzin, he'd lean on his camera, and he didn't speak till noon some days. And then Lou, the best example, our best story, she was for a camera, the main camera guy, feeling a little, under the weather, so he asks our director of photography, can you have an aspirin? So Ricky gives him an aspirin. And Ricky comes running over to him like half an hour later, and he said, what I gave you, was it a circle or was it an elliptical? Was it a circle? And he goes, you gave me a circular pill. He goes, that was Percocet. And Lou hadn't eaten, and Lou, within an hour, we were shooting the scene, Lou had a bucket next to him. And he's watching the scene, and he'd hold out till the end of the scene and go, roll! He was so violently ill. He was so mad at Rick. And Rick would sort of be like, I'm sorry, I'm an older guy, and I gotta have this stuff, I just wasn't thinking. So we have tons of adventures from Chilliwack. And that town was so nice to us, letting us close their main street every time we came to town. It was pretty nice. And then the bowling alley was called the Chilla Bowl. I did not love it.
So first I want to say thanks for being on the show, because I just graduated and I'm going into college, and I'm actually pursuing a career in the sciences, and I think a lot of that is based on the different sci-fi shows that I've watched and seen the potential of the sciences. So in regards to the sciences, how do you guys write in all the science aspects to the show? Do you guys have physicists or scientists on the writing team?
Yeah, they have a guy named Kevin Grazier, who's our science advisor. Oh, I thought you were doing a bit behind my back. And Kevin vets all the scripts. He goes through and either adds to the science of it or takes it away, or sometimes, some of the stuff that I find the most amazing about the stuff that we've done, that it exists. And that's brilliant to watch, I think. And it's amazing to watch science right now. Didn't the first teleportation happen last week? Where they teleported a particle in China, like 60 miles? Like a proton? Yeah, you could hear it. I did it. I've been working with the Chinese pretty closely. My experiments have been a little radical, but they're working now. So.
Thanks.
Okay.
I have two quick questions. If you could be any character other than your character on Eureka, who would you be?
I would probably be, who would I be? Joe Morton, maybe? I mean, he's the elder statesman of our cast. He works harder than anyone. He's never unprepared, has some of the most thankless dialogue to do, because it's just really difficult. And he always, not only does he memorize it, he looks it up online, he knows what he's saying, and corrects it. Comes in and goes, I would say this if it was right, so what did you say? It's just like, oh, snap. And he's so smart and so well spoken, so I'd emulate Joe, I think. I look up to that guy.
And my other question is just sort of a random one. Do you like narwhals?
No, yes, I do. Sure. The unicorn of the sea? Yeah, absolutely. They're amazing. Do you like narwhals?
Yes.
Why?
Because they're amazingly awesome, and they're the adventures of the shish kebab.
Of the shish kebab? A shish kebab? Do you eat the narwhal? No. What is the adventure of the shish kebab? I know. A life half lived. Right here. What is it? Can you tell me super quick?
They're the adventure of the shish kebab.
Oh! That makes much more sense. I thought you were eating them and they were talking about shish kebabs. And I was like, what the? No, that's great. Yeah, absolutely. They're great. Yes, they're beautiful. Yeah. She makes much more sense than my brain does. I broke it. Yeah, that's right. It only gets worse. Yeah.
Okay. So I was listening to some of the commentary that you do.
Yeah.
And you mentioned that you're now unemployed.
Yeah.
So do you have any upcoming projects that you want to tell us about or are hoping to do?
Well, yeah, I mean, there's a bunch of you were coming in. I was just telling you guys, I'm supposed to be testing, I guess, on Tuesday. How do you guys feel about this? To play Herman Munster? So, I mean, I'm working on that. I'm leaving right after the screen test to go to Vancouver. Niall, on our show, who plays Zane, is the new lead of a show called Primeval New World. And so I'm going to join him to do an episode with him. And that's actually run by the guy and the crew, Martin Wood, who did Stargate and the same crew. So they're working that. They're committed to 13, so that's definitely airing. And believe it or not, they don't have a U.S. distributor. They're doing it in Canada on their own. They have world distribution, but no one in the States has bought it. So, I mean, right, crazy, right? In 1995, international revenue for films and TV surpassed domestic, right? So, you no longer need a domestic audience, which is sort of crazy. And now they're actually doing TV for the world. And so I would launch a campaign. No, it's just really funny what the world of TV is turning into. And hopefully that means that the networks that have made some dubious choices will have a little less say because the way the West. The way that the rest of the world works is when you create a show, like I did a show called Coupling with Steve Moffat, who runs. And when Steve makes a show, because I was asking him, I was like, how does it work for you? He's basically like the BBC says, we'd like this show. He goes, okay, I need money. And they go, here's your money. And they say, we'd like the show by June. And he delivers a show. And it's completely free of input. And he has final say in everything. And it's so glorious to do. And they make some great things happening that way. So I'd like to see that the top-heavy structure we have right now, with a lot of executives doing a lot of busy work, I'd like to see that thin out a little bit. Yeah. And then it becomes, I'll get off my soapbox in a second. And then it becomes sort of a pure dialogue between the fans and the people making it, and we can make stuff that we want to make. So,
Have you thought about being anything other than an actor?
An astronaut. And I thought about it. I finished college in 90 something. I'm not good with years. And I wasn't sure what I wanted to do. I'd been doing comedy in bars for a long time because I needed money. And I didn't want to back into a career. I wanted to make a conscious decision to go into it, as opposed to something like, well, I guess I ended up here. So I'll tell the story. So I chased a girl across the country, as you do. And I think I had $350 in my bank account. I spent $15 on a ticket to see Ani DeFranco in concert, and then $320 on a plane ticket to go to the West Coast, because she said, come out, I'd like to see you. So I came out and met her at the airport, and she said, but you know I have a boyfriend now, right? Then I have like $20 at this point, right? I was like, oh, today sucks. So I had a tent with me, so I ended up camping on this woman's front lawn in Victoria, Canada for 4 months, till I worked as a dishwasher. Those dishes were clean. In Sam's Deli, if you know downtown Victoria, and saved up enough to buy a 1973 orange Volkswagen Bug, and drove it back across the country. And on the drive back, I decided that I was going to go into acting. So I made a conscious decision at that point to go into it. Did I want to do anything else? I thought about it on the trip, and I decided that I could do anything else. But I really wanted to give this a shot. I needed to give this a shot. And if anyone else is thinking about going into it, I would say if you can do anything else, do it. Because it's an incredibly hard road, but if you can't do anything else, then lock and load, you're into the holidays. So, there, thanks.
We have time for about one more.
About one more.
Are we,
It's your show.
are we going to see the guy who played Nathan Stark or the girl who played your daughter again?
Yes, you will see the girl who played my daughter again. You will not see Ed Quinn. He was busy. Ed did not give birth. Ed's wife gave birth. Ed gave birth, incredibly painful, to a little boy. Odd turn of events. And he's just all up and loving his family and doing what you do when you have one. So he couldn't make it back up, but he wanted to, and we wanted to have him. But it would have been a little bit Return of the Jedi. You know what I mean? If he's like,
you would have been able to do that.
off to the side, going like.
Thank you
All
for
right,
being here in
thanks.
Phoenix.
Okay. Oh, thank you. Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
I'm the ish. I'm the one ish.
You're the ish.
Just wanted to say, on a personal performance level, your no was so wonderful that we rewound it and watched it over and over.
Okay.
And I wanted to say thank you so much for bringing so much fun into our lives with the show. We're gonna miss you like crazy, and if sci-fi could learn to spell their names and.
To talk to Colin and the rest of the cast of Eureka that's here tomorrow at 3 o'clock down in the big ballroom. We should have a lot more seats, so there should be a lot more room. You're also doing signings and stuff down at the hall a couple times through the next.
I guess they tell me where to go. Oh, Rachel's nodding. Awesome.
The actual schedule for that is
Rachel
posted.
points me in a direction and says go. That's what. And I just want to say thank you to you guys. This has been an experience that changed my life on many different fronts. And it's not possible without the fans, so you guys are more a part of my life changing than you probably realize, and thank you so much for everything you've given through the years.
like we don't have a lot of money, so we can't afford to waste time, you know. And also as a professional, if you want to do the best job, then blow it. It's like that was gonna be the one. You know, so we have enough fun doing the job. Like we'll laugh about it afterwards, make sure we see but when it comes to the family, we always try to yeah. Well,
we loved having him added to the show. Please never
Jamie laughed.
Yeah, thanks, guys. Oh, Tic Tac? Oh, yeah.
Okay, you need to die. So I have another phone.
That's- Oh, there you go.
I'll take that. That's what I can do.
Oh, okay,
I talk so much during the day that I don't go back to work and I write. No, I go back. I'm working on a script, so I sort of kind of out now.